So I'm trying to figure out what kind of tattoos I want to put on them, and I have some ideas, but there are aspects that I'm not too sure about. Hey Zebra, how's it going? Also, let me know if the music is too loud, too quiet, if you can even hear it. Had an issue with the music not being audible before. So I feel like I've probably been really leaning towards this idea of these kind of more geometric shapes with the tattoos, but and I'm also trying to figure out, like, you know, what's the purpose of these tattoos? Usually tattoos always kind of tell some kind of a story, you know. I don't know what that would be for them. Zebra, how's your evening going? If it's evening for you. I don't know what time zone you're in. Okay, cool. Cool. Oh, wow. Why are you awake at 4 a.m.? You're crazy. But I appreciate you being here. Yeah, I get that. When I was going into work still, um, I would often get in early for that exact reason because it was just like it was quiet. I could get stuff done and not have anyone bugging me with questions. Right on, man. Well, like I said, I appreciate you being here. I can't stay up till 4 a.m. anymore. My body does not like it. I realize it was going so. Every now and then, Photoshop will do that. It'll just do this like 100% opaque, no pressure mark, and it's just one mark. I don't know why. Um, so right now, like these kinds of shapes feel maybe more like they would have some kind of cultural significance rather than necessarily telling a story, which is a possibility. I'm not totally sold on these yet because I like the idea of them having some kind of narrative tattooed, but then I feel like the tattoos would be very different. And because I almost went for something more like they would get kind of tattoos in the different ports and things that they would stop in. But then I'd really have to get into this weird hodgepodge of like styles, and it's not the look I want for them. So I think we're gonna stick with this kind of like cultural thing for now, whatever that is. And honestly, I don't have to know every single aspect of all of this. You know, it's ultimately the story for this is going to be a written story, not visual. So some of this stuff I can just make up as I go. And I might come back in and do like some heavier marks. Right now I'm kind of just doing these thinner ones. Yeah, I agree. I think there's something really fun in that. Um, and when you're doing visuals, I feel like it's most important in something like this to at least have it feel like there's some kind of cultural significance, right? Regardless of whether I, as the artist, know every single detail of it, that kind of doesn't matter so much. It's more about like alluding to some bigger story because I haven't finished the story yet, so there's a whole lot that I don't know. and am unsure about. And that's fine. This, more than anything, is kind of a development piece and sort of gives me ideas along the way, I guess. Then once I kind of paint these on, I might actually tackle whatever the hell is happening inside this tavern. I've been kind of avoiding it because I don't really know how I want to tackle it. I've been torn between approaching it like as it might appear on camera, or approaching it as it might appear if we were actually there, right? If we were actually there, we'd get some detail and stuff happening inside there. If it was more like a camera would see it, most likely a lot of that stuff would be blown out, you know, in order to capture enough light to see these two outside at night as clearly as we are. So it's a difference of whether I want to sort of play with a cinematic look versus a more illustrative. I don't want to say realistic, but kind of, you know, a more realistic look in a way. And I'll probably just have to try. First, I'll try blowing it out more and see how that goes. It would give it a very different feel, I think. But, you know, not a bad thing. I don't actually like those dots inside. Let's get her a little bit bigger. So that I'm working on a 32-inch Cintiq, so, you know, zooming in, like, things get really big. So it's sort of just trying to find a balance between what you guys can see on stream and what is still like a workable size for me. It would have if work didn't buy it for me. This is basically, so it was at work, but then of course now we're all working from home, so we brought our rigs home. I just have it hooked up to my personal computer right now. Yeah, there are a lot of benefits to working in-house. Alright, we're gonna have to go darker on this stuff. Actually, I think I just need to not do full opacity. Because realistically, in this low light, you wouldn't catch a whole lot of detail, you know, but I kind of want to give myself some detail, and then I can always, you know, paint it out later if I want. It just kind of it's nice if you give yourself some room to edit as you go. Of course, with how long this digital piece is taking me, I have no idea how long it would take me to do the actual oil painting, because this is technically, I'm doing it as a study for an oil painting. You know, as a way to kind of create my own reference and figure out the color palette and all that stuff. So but I will, if I describe these tattoos at all in the story, I'm gonna have to figure out the significance of all these triangular shapes. Textures are a lot of fun to play with, and I mean, I do have, you know, some knowledge, mostly from experience, though. Just kind of like, I think just sort of paying attention, one, not just when I'm looking at actual things in the world, but also when because I love to just look at and study like old master paintings, you know, especially from like the golden age of illustration and that era. A lot of artwork in the late 1800s, early 1900s. I love those paintings, and so I love to study how they approach different textures and materials and stuff. Inkwell, good evening and welcome. And, you know, because a lot of those guys like went through a lot of just like, you know, learning experiences, and it doesn't make sense for us to try and like flounder through all that ourselves when they kind of did a lot of that for us. You know, if we can just kind of look at and study what they did and understand it, then, you know, we can bypass some of those struggles ourselves. You know, it's not to say like paint it the way that they did, but trying to look at what their choices were and the observations that they were making and the reasons maybe that they simplified the way that they did. And then when we look at those materials and in real life, then we can kind of see like, oh, okay, I get it. I see what they were thinking about. And especially because those guys were painting largely from observation, or at the very least from photos that they would take. Thank you. Yeah, it's been... I know I was kind of busy with some other stuff too, and then we took a slight break, or detour, I should say. uh, with some other stuff. But yeah, I figured get back to it and see where we can take it. Always felt like finger tattoos would hurt so much, but they look cool. I'll have to figure out where I want some of the heavier marks to be. Yeah, right now we're still keeping all these pretty light. I like the look of it. I do want some parts that are like bolder, I'm just not quite sure where they'll be yet. So right now I'm focused more on just kind of laying out some shapes. And, any questions along the way, too, please feel free to ask. Whether it's about the art or something else, doesn't matter. Anything and everything. Yeah, I'm okay with them looking a little runic. Basically, I was trying not to just do a bunch of, swirls and stuff. I love doing stuff that's a little more kind of paisley style design, right? Which has its roots in India and the Middle East. And in terms of how these people look, they are very Middle Eastern inspired. But I didn't necessarily want to go that route with everything. So we'll see. Don't actually like that one there. I was just looking at his earring, and of course I have this very sort of Egyptian lotus sort of, inverted, right, hanging upside down kind of, but I feel like if he's gonna have that, maybe I could carry that shape around just as something to kind of help sort of balance all the angles, right? I don't know why I like that motif so much, but I do. It's a lot of fun to play with. So I'll have to carry that around somewhere. And I feel like I might want to play with some asymmetry, because I don't want it all to be super symmetrical. So it'll be kind of fun to carry this over, but then not have the same shape on her other side, along with the asymmetry, I want to play with, this not being totally like parallel. I'm thinking maybe it sort of splits. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Ah, thank goodness for layers, right? I mean, if I start to kind of fill some of this in, it could get a bit tribal looking, which I don't know if that's the way I want to go. I've got some crescents and stuff here that I feel like I should maybe bring in someplace. Not quite sure where yet, but maybe I'll have just that one repeated. Right. Like I said, I don't want total symmetry, but I don't mind a little bit, maybe there's some significance to it. And then I'll have to decide if I want any tattoos on their faces at all. I don't think I do. Even though it would look kind of cool, but maybe we can try it out. I don't hate the idea. Especially with the kind of geometry that we've got going on right now. I think could be kind of fun. It can be a very proud race, right? Not afraid to show it. like the little triangles there. And then I have to kind of decide how far they go with their facial tattoos. Sorry, just going down onto the arm to get some other little details. I've got, smaller tattoos on the fingers and stuff, but I want to I need to establish like what's the level of detail on these things. Like, are they really simple? Do they go more intricate? Right? Because like if I wanted to say have like a band or something that they have across their face or something, then I need to know like how detailed do I want to go with that. Right. Like, is it something that's really simple, or this is where like maybe I'll allude to some kind of writing in some of these. That could be kind of fun. So I may have to go back and change some of them, but that's part of the process. But it would be fun to kind of like, I don't need it to be actual writing, right? I just need it to look like maybe it could be something. If I want to go this route, and I'm not totally sold on it, but I don't hate the idea. Looks like it would hurt. Let's see. Yeah, I'm actually not really feeling that. But I do like the idea of maybe getting some kind of what could be letter forms of some kind inside some of these, I think that could be fun. And then it helps us like establish sort of a level of detail a bit more. So that's cool. Of course, I don't know if I'd actually be able to get all that into the oil painting because it wouldn't be this big. I'd probably have to scratch it in with a pencil or something. But that's cool. I don't mind doing that. So maybe not going all the way across, you know? Nope, still not feeling it. I'm gonna figure this out. I like the chin tattoo, but not that design. Keep it there for now, I think. Alright, let's play with some kind of more bold values, you know? We like where that's going. I think we'll get there. Well, I know we'll get there, I just don't know when. Because I do want to retain some of those like really fine lines still. I like the look of it, but I think we can fill in some of the shapes. Whoa, giant smudge. feel like we gotta get. I'm really looking at this more as kind of graphic design, right? So I'm just wanting to find some kind of a balance. I think it says something as far as like the level of sophistication, right? As in terms of whether if tattoos feel almost random and kind of messy and like they're not thinking of how they appear as a whole, but they're only thinking of the individual tattoo. I think that says something very different than if the entire layout is considered, right? Like that tells us something about how they treat them and what their purpose is, right? I think they've probably done a fair amount of smuggling in their day. I definitely don't feel like they're in, the super nice part of town. I think the docks that they're frequenting currently are a little more seedy. So there's probably a bit of smuggling and piracy. Some clandestine activities. Alright, let's get. I want some of these lines also to be a little heavier. Where I might not want to fill in the shape, but still kind of give it a bit of boldness. It's funny because I am, fairly familiar with aspects of the D&D world, but I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last time I actually did a campaign was. I mean, not since I was a kid, to be honest. I've done some artwork for them, but have not actually done any kind of campaigning. Mostly, more than anything, it's a time thing of limited spare time as it is, and there is so much art to do. I don't have a whole lot of time for other things. I'm gonna smudge out some of these like brush marks. I don't want it to be too uneven, I guess. Right. I don't want the tattoos to feel messy. And I'll have to get in and do some lighting on them afterward as well. So this is more than anything, we're just worrying about the overall layout and design. Let's figure out. Not totally sold on this part, but maybe we can make it work. I don't know, I'm still tempted to go back to my more swirls and paisley kind of style for them. Man, I don't know. I mean, good thing is I can try something else out and just put it on another layer, right? So obviously I won't get rid of this. I won't erase this stuff or anything, but I might play around with a different style of motif. Either that or, I mean, I could run with something like this. I just feel like I would need to really kind of refine it somehow. Whether that would be kind of playing with some shapes off to the side, that I could then use. Don't know. think I might need... I feel like I need to get more repeated motifs in here for it to not feel random. Something. We'll see. Like maybe... Like, I think some asymmetry might be good, but I feel like we'll either need to push it or bring in a little more symmetry to make it feel a little more planned out, you know? But I think I kind of want to push the asymmetry a little bit. Kind of like that. Kind of like that. We get a little more of that kind of writing looking stuff in here just to start to tie some of that together a little more. Yeah, I can dig it. I think I like where it's going. That's starting to feel better. I feel like it's starting to have something that's sort of some kind of through line, I guess, that I mean is literally tying the pieces together. Yeah, I think there's something to that. And this actually needs to be lower.
A lot of this stuff, I think, is just kind of like, you know, developing an idea and then kind of exploring it and seeing where the hell it takes you, you know. But that's where sometimes you just gotta kind of say, oh, hey, you know what? I see now the direction that this is headed, and parts of it might not work with that anymore. And then you gotta decide, like, okay, then if this is the way I want to go, then I gotta get rid of that other stuff that's not letting it work. We'll allude to maybe some tattoos on her neck. Be kind of fun. Now I feel like this little triangle right here it's kind of a statement, and I don't have it anywhere else. So I think, meaning like it looks like it could be a motif that they would use. So I either need to repeat it somewhere and make it a motif, or not, right? Or I just get rid of it. And I don't really have a good place for it to go if I wanted to keep it. So we ain't gonna. I need, this is metallic, so I need that to catch a bit of light, or else it's just gonna look like a weird lump on her skin, and we don't want that. And I'll go in and kind of finesse that, you know, light that's hitting her arm a bit, but I wanted to kind of get the tattoos going before I did that. Don't hate it. I'm not totally sold on this though. Like maybe he could have that motif on him, and then we can sort of say, you know, they're the same race, but maybe from a different group of some kind, whether it's by family or by province, or, you know, whatever we want that kind of differentiation to be. And I'm not sure yet. So there is something kind of that I'm kind of digging about. I might bring this in. That I'm kind of digging about, like, there's almost a modern quality to these designs, which is kind of cool, because there are no shapes here or motifs or depictions, you know, that feel like they would be out of the capacity of, you know, whatever era this is meant to be. I don't know, late medieval, early Renaissance, perhaps. Right, so, whoa, going crazy over here, stylus. So there's something kind of fun about that. You know, almost like a modern kind of graphic design, which is actually what I wanted. Like I wanted it to feel a little, like I wanted to play with some of those shapes and ideas. I kind of dig it. So we'll run with that. Feel like I need a couple more places where we've got these sort of dots, right? Just so the ones on her chin here don't feel too out of place. Like I need them maybe someplace that's a little more visible. All right. Still not totally digging the ones down on her belly though. I don't know. There's something that I'm just not vibing on that. So let's carry these all the way and see what else we might consider. No, she needs much more, really. Maybe there is a symmetry. Let's do this. More of this writing kind of. But I want it to be. Oops. I want it to be so much easier if I were to plan out this curve. Whatever. Okay, I like that. I like that more. That other tattoo that was happening, I think, just wasn't doing it. Wasn't getting it done. I'm gonna run with that kind of a look for now. And let's figure out something for him. But I don't mind putting some slightly different motifs, but maybe the writing
will kind of carry through, you know? And I think this sort of what I would assume, you know, on her right arm, screen left, right? What would be clearly like a sun and moon kind of a motif is what I'm assuming that is. So maybe we could also carry that onto him. I'd be okay with that. But it could be in a different area, perhaps. Start with his fingers. Get some similar things happening. But I think I might have fewer hard angles on his, which is kind of interesting, right? For the female to have the more angular, you know, less graceful kind of tattoos, but I'm okay with that. I like that idea. We'll switch things up a little bit, right? Just curious if I wanna. Okay. Like I said before, I'll come back and kind of finesse the lighting that's on the tattoos a little. Because like if we look really quick on hers, it could be kind of fun to play with like almost a metallic kind of sheen, right? Where the light hits it, it actually like gleams off the skin, like something like that could be kind of cool just to, you know, just be like, fuck you, fantasy. Of course they had metallic tattoo inks. They're elves. We'll see. We're not there yet. Not there yet. But I like the idea. I'm not shooting it down. I want like a heavier. Of course, that's one thing where if I were to then do it in oils, that'd be a pain in the ass. Because I don't have clipping masks and oil paint. Be a pain in the ass, but it'd be kind of fun. I don't think I'll have tattoos on every finger, but let's hit his hand here. Maybe get that kind of lotus looking motif going here.
So how's everybody's night going? Or early morning, as the case is with Zebra. Anyone else drawing or painting? And if so, what are you working on? I was a little bummed. 3D Total had contacted me. I've done a couple things with them in the past, but I was gonna maybe do something for one of their books, but it was like way too much work in too short a time for me. Like working full time and then really trying to stick to streaming 2 nights a week, and I was like, dude, I can't get all this done in a month. There's no way. Especially not with like some big projects coming down the pipe at work. So, oh well. Next time. Maybe. What happens a lot of times is I'll say yes to, an assignment because I'm like, oh, that'll be fun. And it would be fun, but then inevitably what happens is I just run short on time, and then I gotta cram, and just like crush through it, and then it's not fun anymore. And so that's why this time I was like, I'm not gonna do that again. I work full time. I don't need to take the freelance stuff. So I can really just take freelance gigs that I would really enjoy doing, Like, I know where this one's gonna go, and I'll be really bummed that I won't have fun with it anymore. So I'm not gonna put myself through that again. Not this time. Maybe with him we'll get that. Sun and moon. Though it could also be fun playing with that idea of possibly having some sort of metallic kind of qualities to the inks. Is maybe some of them do and some don't, so that could be kind of fun. Like with the sun and moon, maybe the sun is some kind of a metallic ink and the moon isn't, or vice versa. That could be kind of fun. Trying to think if I want, like, feel like I want something that's a little more swoopy and then we'll have to figure out how to throw it out of like the typical tribal vibe, you know? Feeling these as much. Shit. That's annoying. Well, let's see. I do like the facial tattoos, though of course more of his face is covered. But that's okay. We can hint at something. I still want some of the angular stuff, I think. But maybe... maybe more of this kind of... I just feel like something needs to go inside these. I guess we could still repeat those if we want. This is where I think sometimes, you know, if you're working on an actual project, like meaning on a production of some kind, film or a game or whatever, that's where it helps to have multiple people, right, working on something, because for one person to like fully create an entire culture is kind of ridiculous. You know, because that's obviously not how cultures have ever been created, much to the chagrin of every dictator ever. But, you know, that ain't how it works. So that's where it can help to have, you know, people with just different viewpoints and different experiences to throw in ideas that you might not think of. But that's also sometimes where if you're just writing something, if you just sort of hint at some of those cultural aspects, it's enough, you know, to give it the vibe of something much more fully developed. Alright, let's stick with our thin lines to at least follow the same process that we did for the other one. Just at least to get, you know, some designs going. Still like the idea of using that lotus motif somehow. I'm just not sure where. Granted, it doesn't have to be like super overt either. It's almost more for myself than anyone else. And then I feel like it'll help once I get the little writing bits in as well. So can't forget that. So like where she has, on her arm, on both her arms, she has these kind of more angular, sort of triangular kind of things going on. I'm making his more curved, swoopy kind of stuff. So I feel like that kind of stuff will at least push their motifs apart a bit. I think so. Hey, Captain Blue. How's it going? I'm glad you could catch a live stream. We're kind of just working on these tattoos right now on our Sea Elves. Is what I'm calling them for now. I don't know if in the actual story if I will call them elves, but we'll see. We will see. And how are are you doing tonight, Captain Blue? I hope things are going well. I kind of want... Oh, right on. What time is it for you? I'm over on the west coast of the US, so it's 8:30 p.m. out here. Yeah, I know. Quarantine is like, I think it's been pretty weird for a lot of people. And nachos, nachos stout, nacho stout, nacho stout. Yes, I've made some progress. Not as much as I would like, but you know, I'm also kind of trying to pace myself a little bit, not trying to just blast through it. I want to make sure I feel good about the decisions that I'm making and all that stuff. So, I do feel like I've made some progress, though. It's true. But yeah, with the quarantine, you know, I feel like, you know, some people have been able to kind of still sort of keep track of time and, you know, not go too crazy. Whereas other people I know, even like people at my work, I mean, they'll just work all day, every day, 7 days a week because they have nothing else to do in a way, and they kind of just like don't know what else to do with themselves, which is kind of weird to me. I think it's important to still keep a healthy work schedule, otherwise you'll go insane. Let's do. But yeah, I can't imagine like being in school right now, you know? Like that would be weird. I don't know what I'd be doing. I mean, obviously still a lot of art, but it would mess with my schedule and my sense of time, which I felt like I started kind of feeling this weekend, like I was losing track of that a little bit, and that freaked me out. So I'm like, no, okay, dude, get back on track here. You know, basically where the days were starting to feel like they were bleeding together. And that's what I don't want. Like, I've been really good about keeping the days clear in my head, you know? And This weekend, I felt like I was in jeopardy of losing that. I'm trying to figure out like if I want some different motifs for him, or if I want to like repeat some of the ones that she has, but in slightly different ways. But I kind of feel like I want some different ones on him. But then, how different? Run with our Lotus. Just blast that Lotus out there. Mr. McInnes, how you doing? How are you doing? It goes well. We're chipping away at our Sea Elves here. Starting to get into playing with some motifs. And I'm trying to decide because I want some similarities, but then I want theirs to also be different to signify that maybe they come from different regions. So that's where this sort of, I'm alluding to something that could look like some kind of writing, right? As kind of really the through line in their design. Nice. I know, I almost poured myself something, but I was like, no, I can stick with water tonight. You know, at least pretend that I'm somewhat healthy sometimes. Although I think I have a rowing machine coming next week, so I'm very excited about that. I hate the gym, but the one thing I've always missed from when I used to go to the gym are the rowing machines. So I bit the bullet, and I'm like, they're not cheap, especially for like a decent water rower. But you know what? When it's your health and there isn't much else to do, it's worth dropping some money on it, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I've never used one, Nacho, but they look so cool, and I love that idea of using the water as the resistance, and it's just like the harder you row, the more resistance there is, and I'm like, genius. And the fact that they stand up, you know, so you can store them in a smaller space, so they're kind of out of the way. I mean, they're tall when you stand them up, but that's okay. Yeah, they seem like it.
Um, like I was reading up on them, and I was like, you know what? That's what I'm gonna do. That's what I'm gonna get. Like, I didn't go for the actual water rower because it's like, what, $1,500, and you can find ones that still had like good ratings and good reviews and stuff that are, you know, maybe half the price, a little more than half the price, but yeah. I think the main difference is that the actual water rower is all made in the US. So, makes sense that the price tag is a little higher. And yeah, I just got to the point where I was like, dude, I need to do more cardio. And I love jogging, but it's so bad for your knees in the long run. And, you know, I'm not a spring chick anymore. Not to mention I'd blown out one of my knees in high school. It doesn't bother me, but I have a feeling if I had started jogging a lot, it would probably bother me. Hello, blind coyote. Oh yeah, I'd love to actually like get out on the water, but I'm not close enough, and the LA River does not count. I'm not close enough to actual water. You know, I miss canoeing though. That shit was fun. Like growing up in Northern California, we would take the canoes out on the Russian River all the time. You know, just trail a pony keg behind us in the water. We are talking exercise. I was saying I ordered one of those water rowing machines, which should arrive next week, and I'm very excited about it. Cardio. You know, when you can't really go outside a whole lot, and any exercise we can get, right? I underestimated how much I was actually getting at work. Wow, Nightbot, you decided to chime in. Yeah. So like at work, the illustration department, we sat up on the second floor, and I hated using the phone system. You know, so if I had a question for someone, I would always walk over and ask them. So it was nice. I was going up and down the stairs like multiple times a day. And it was just my way of getting a little more exercise. And I underestimated how much I was actually getting until lockdown and working from home. And then after a while, like my back was kind of aching, and it's like, man, why? Like, I'm not really doing anything different. I have the same setup, essentially. You know, because I had an Aeron chair at work, and I have one at home. And I realized it was that, you know, my lower back was aching because my glutes were not getting the exercise that they were before. So I had to start, like, kind of getting in some different types of exercises to sort of combat that. Keep the different muscles from pulling in the wrong direction. Oh, that'd be rad. It'd be a nice activity, right? I mean, could you possibly both get kayaks or something? I mean, the nice thing is the canoe would be like joint effort, you know, and I think that would be really fun. Um, my girlfriend and I had done a little bit of that when we went to Tahiti last year. You know, took a 2-person kayak out on the ocean. Just tons of fun. Tahiti. I miss traveling. Feel like yeah, that'd be a great. I think that'd be a great joint activity. Realized. There, that feels better. Yeah, that would be tough. Yeah, I'm 6'1" and my girlfriend is 5'4", so it would, even just on the kayak, it was tricky. I had to keep kind of compensating for like I would get way more kind of power on my strokes, so I'd have to constantly like correct and correct and correct. Alright, I need to repeat some motifs here for sure. But right now, his are feeling really random. So, we gotta figure that out. Whatever it is. Yeah, Tahiti was just for a vacation. I don't know why we have this like huge fascination, I think, with French territories. Of course, this year we're like, okay, we're not gonna go to a French place this year. Of course, then everything got canceled. We were gonna hit Scotland and Crete this year, but that didn't happen. But yeah, so we'd gone to Tahiti last year. The year before that, we had gone to Venice just for a few days, and then we went to Baynek in France on the Dordogne River Valley, on the Dordogne River, I should say. And Baynek is like one of our favorite places. We'd gone there, I think in 2016 with 2 of our friends, and just loved it. But then, so that was 2018, and then 2017 we'd gone to Guadeloupe on the French Caribbean, so like the French West Indies. And yeah, we just like, I don't know, we just like really love the French territories. And it's hard to not just like want to go back to those places. So we're like, no, but there are other places we want to see and places we haven't been. And We want to see them all. Of course, she's like scared to go to India. You know, I'm half Indian. I've been there a few times, and I love it. But it's a very different experience. I would say maybe it's not so much vacation as much as it is like educational travel. But she's just, you know, afraid she would like catch something or like get some kind of bacteria or foodborne something or other. Like, whatever. I've been there. I've never gotten anything. That being said, the last time I'd gone there, my mom, who is from India, did get a stomach bug and I didn't. So, I don't know. Yeah, you know, we both work full time. We work really hard. And so that's kind of like, since we both have paid vacation time through work, we figure, you know what, we're going to use it and we're going to go places. You know? So. It's a lot of fun. I'm feeling this. This guy. Man, I have a feeling it would be hard for me to get her to go to Cambodia. I'm one of those where I'm like, I'm up for anything, going anywhere. So I think she's sometimes surprised every time, because she's the one that does all the planning. Like, she loves researching that stuff. So every time she asks, like, hey, what do you think about going to this place? I'm like, okay, cool. Sounds awesome. If I haven't been there, I want to go there. With, you know, maybe some exceptions. Yeah. Any of the places with, like, huge human rights violations, I'm not in a hurry to go to. Just throwing that out there. Right? I mean, at least supposedly they've got a vaccine going that might be like 90% effective. Because before they were talking about it having like the efficacy of the flu vaccine, and I'm like, dude, I'm not bothering with that. Half the time people get the flu vaccine and they come down with the flu. 40% efficacy on that shit. I'm like, hell no. It's not worth it. But if if they actually do have one that's 90% effective, and if it's required for traveling, which I would not put it past them to, I don't want to get into all the gnarly politics of who's in whose pockets, but I wouldn't put it past them to put you on a no-fly list if you don't get vaccinated. Ah, okay. Gotcha. That makes more sense because I was like, dude, 90% just like came out of nowhere because I hadn't, like, no one had been throwing those numbers around. And then all of a sudden, like this morning, I'm like, where the hell did that come from? So that makes more sense. Don't actually like the little lotuses in the armband either. I like the one above it. I don't like those. So I'll have to figure out something else. And I can't decide if this is all like more difficult than it should be, like if I'm just overthinking it or or not. Whatevs. I don't care. Yeah, maybe he'll also have the sun and moon motif going on. Don't hate that idea. I don't know, there's something that's feeling too busy. Might actually leave it, like... Maybe I'll just simplify the shit out of it. Because... Like I said, I'm kind of treating this like graphic design. So I'm sort of looking at like what feels too busy for me and what is still working. Yeah, I mean, I figure stuff's probably a ways off still. Actually kind of like the simplicity of this, just having the lines there. I think I need a little bit more of that because most of his are all kind of filled in, and I do want some that are not filled in. It's starting to feel better. Let's see here. Kind of dig in how that's feeling. I don't hate it. Not totally sold on the one on his shoulder though. Hey, Deuce Bradshaw, thank you for the follow. Yeah, I feel like the one on his deltoid is, I don't know, it's not working. Not working for me.
when I first decided that, oh yeah, and they're gonna have tattoos, I really didn't think I'd be spending this much time on the tattoos. Because at first I figured I was just gonna do like my normal kind of, you know, whatever sort of a little more like Paisley inspired kind of, you know, motifs and slight Art Nouveau whatevers. And then I was like, no, I want to do something different. So I really didn't think it would be this involved. No one told me it would be this hard. Welcome to life. Yes. Suck to get tattoos on your clavicle. That would hurt. Skin is so thin. Let's think about it. I know, same. I don't have any tattoos. Mostly because, you know, by the time I was old enough to get tattoos, I kind of was pretty well aware that I'm like, well, I would want to design my own tattoo, but I don't like my own art for long enough to want it to be permanent on me. Meaning, like, I always like my own art, but it's not like there are images that, say, I did when I was 18 that I still think are awesome. You know, so I'm like, well, I'm not gonna tattoo my own stuff on me. Of course, now, if I were to get one, which I'm not, there are tattoo artists that I know of that are good enough where I'd be like, yeah, design something awesome for me. You know, just at the time I didn't know any of that. So right. And then I don't have like that kind of stuff that's so important and
personal to me that I would tattoo it on myself. Like, I don't know what that would be at all. So, okay, now he doesn't have any of that sun and moon, which maybe he doesn't need. Maybe he don't need it. What's not working? Something's not working. Maybe we just need... that kind of a shape. Maybe. Yeah, 18-year-old me probably would have come up with some like stupid like Pisces symbol that I thought was super cool at the time. Been like, yeah, that's what I'm gonna tattoo on myself. Then I would have had to punch myself for acting like a high school girl. This guy bothering me. It's all this like push and pull. But you know what? That's how it goes sometimes. Thing I did want to do. Maybe. I think.
that one. It was getting too busy. So I think maybe we'll try this. I feel like that feels a little better. Maybe. Definitely needs something on his hand, though. Bring that sun and moon in, cause why not? Alright. Really want to get into the sort of sheen and highlights and stuff on these, but gotta make sure that you do them right, you know? Like, don't really do yourself any favors if you rush through and then end up having to like change a bunch of shit later. It ends up being a waste of time and usually ends up taking longer because then you've gotten into the rendering and the lighting and all that stuff, and you gotta go and do all of it all over again. Granted, it's whole process is a little easier, a lot easier digitally, of course. Layers. All right, I'm feeling good about this. Let's do this. I'm trying to decide what kind of like, if I want this to have some sort of almost like otherworldly kind of properties to the ink, you know? Thanks, man. So, I still love the idea of this kind of like almost a metallic kind of vibe. And especially the lost and found that it creates, I think there's something really fun in that. And I dig it. It just kind of turns it into something a little different that I quite like. But I don't know if I want it on all of the ink or if I just want to do it on some of it. So let's try doing it on just some first and then see how we feel. Like maybe all the writing has this kind of fuck it, let's try it on all of it. Make it a little less intense though. Because, if you do this kind of like sort of cool detail on something, like if you have it on a small area, then you can get away with making it more intense, right? But if you have it in a larger area, then you're better off going maybe a little more subtle with it. Otherwise, it'll just be distracting, right?
but I think it's kind of fun that maybe almost in certain light, they could almost disappear too, you know? Like, that could be kind of cool. And a fun little bit to play with. Shipwreck Studios, thank you for the follow. You know what, though? You know what? I've found that art theory also applies to so many other things. And any kind of storytelling, really. You know, like, I feel like it also applies to writing, you know, and vice versa. I'll learn different sort of theories and techniques for writing, and then realize that, oh, hey, shit, that's the same with drawing or painting, you know? It's all storytelling at the end of the day. I feel like a lot of similarities there. Lots. It's pretty fun. I like the subtlety of it. Again, I don't know exactly how I would approach it with the actual oil paints. But I'm not going to worry about it right now. I'm just going to do whatever I think will get me to a good result. And then one step at a time from there. You know? Or maybe his, like, catch a different color. That would be kind of cool. I don't hate that idea. You know, hers are going all magenta. I might go... Even though it's a little weird that they would catch, like, that they would go with an actual color just for moonlight, but I think there's something kind of fun about that, too. So, we're gonna go... That might be a little too intense, though. Some colors, like, retain a bit more intensity, especially with... you know, if we look at kind of contrasting this against these warmer tones. But that's okay. It's cool. We can dig it. Can you dig it? You know, I feel like I've heard of them and maybe saw something about them early on, but to be honest, I forgot about those and have not looked into what they are like nowadays. Okay, this one's got to be more subtle. Might try going a little more blue with these. Feel like, yeah, I think a little more blue works better. Feel like the green was a little too hectic. Yeah, I'll have to check those out. Because these I'm thinking less of like glowing and more like just almost a metallic kind of a sheen. But yeah, just I guess having this kind of otherworldly quality to them. Maybe somewhere between metallic and glow. But I think that's pretty fun. You know, it makes the tattoos, I think, a little more subtle, right? Because if we turn that off, then they're there, but I don't know. I dig that. A little different. And then, let's see, what time is it? 9:22. Got some time still, a little bit. I want to get into some textiles. A little bit of textiles. This stuff I will just pull some of the more flowy kind of paisley motifs. I'm just working on a soft light layer here. What I like about the soft light is it allows me to play with lights and darks, and it'll still kind of be influenced based on the color and value that you're working on top of. Got to remember that technically these are like two separate pieces, so they wouldn't need the. And I can also work with color with the soft light layer, which is fun. So if I want to bring some other colors into these, I can do that. All right, Shane, thank you for stopping by. Always nice to discuss the world with you and cultures. And hello, Drawstone. Welcome. Thank you. Yeah, I kind of wanted to, play with something a little different. Originally, I was going to have them inside, and then I decided to swap it so that they're outside and, at night. And maybe we're looking inside, like there's a window that they can, like, serve drinks and stuff from at the tavern. And I haven't gotten into the interior part yet. But we'll get there. Is that our overlay? Okay. So just getting into a little bit of kind of hinting at some textiles here so that it's not all just, blank cloth. But knowing that these things are all kind of, you have all sorts of folds going on, I'm not going to sit here trying to actually plot out the full textile. If I do something on like the skirts, then that'll be a little more worked out. So I just have a lighter color going here so that I can kind of, bring a little more variety to it without going too crazy. All just indication here. I think some things need to be worked out a little more. Some things kind of think are better if you indicate them. I could go cleaner on this stuff if I... Do I not have her... Wow, I don't have her finished. Never mind. I was going to show an example, but I don't have her on here. Oh well. Shit. Gotta get more of my files up here. Alright, before I was streaming from my iPad, and then I, built a new computer. and went from a Mac to a PC. I should say from a Mac back to a PC, because I used to be on PC years ago. So I don't have like everything here. I still have a bunch of stuff on my iPad that is not on this machine, but we'll get there. We'll get there. I want some heavier darks in here. This is actually where a more calligraphic brush would be really nice, but whatever. I don't have a good brush for that readily available, so I'm not going to worry about it. Good evening, Auntie Monica. It is frustrating, I have to say. Like, it's been okay. The worst thing though was that I do a lot of all my writing in Scrivener, and I didn't realize that their PC version is not up to date with the Mac version. So all of my writing currently, I can't actually open the files on my PC. Luckily, the iPad version is all up to date, so I can still do my writing on the iPad. But what happens is that Scrivener on the iPad syncs with Dropbox, right? And Dropbox is all kinds of like buggy as shit going from Mac to PC. I wasn't paying attention, and my Mac was syncing to the Dropbox automatically, and so was my PC, and they were bouncing back and forth and literally creating like 150 instances of files. And I was like, what the hell is going on? And then on top of that, it would create an instance of the file, but then the file inside would be blank or half blank. Like, it was all, I freaked out because I was like, I opened my Scrivener files and most of them had nothing in it on both my computers, and I was just like, did I just lose 10 years worth of writing? Because that would really, really suck. Thank God for Time Machine. Time Machine had all my files before the crazy, so I unlinked Dropbox, like stopped it syncing automatically, and then pulled my files from Time Machine, backed them up in like 10 different places. I was just like, fuck you. Fuck you, Dropbox. Yeah. Oh, I like almost lost my shit there. I was like, you can't be doing this to me right now. Time Machine. Seriously, that's probably like the 5th time Time Machine has saved my ass in one way or another. And I keep forgetting. I know Windows 10 has basically the same thing. I need to set it up, but I need to get a drive that's big enough for that, for Windows, so. And I keep forgetting, and part of me is like, okay, get that shit done, because you never know when problems will occur. You don't wait for the convenient times. So. I don't think there's a web version of Scrivener. On their website, I've only seen a Mac. There's a Mac version, there's a PC version, and there's like a Linux version. They said that the newest PC version is on the way. Right now, they do have a beta. I'm just a little afraid to dive into it because who knows? Like, obviously, like if there are bugs or something, the beta could totally fuck up files as well. So I figure, you know what? I'm just gonna write on the iPad right now. It's one of my main uses for it anyway. So, all right, I'm gonna do. Trying to decide where else I want some kind of textile design. I think I do want it on their sashes, but more simple. Simple. Yes, I am very glad I have backups too. Yeah, I mean, I learned the hard way the first time I lost a hard drive. Luckily, almost every time, because I've lost a couple of hard drives. Thankfully, in the past when that's happened, I had happened to have like multiple machines already, and so I pretty much had most of this stuff somewhere else, but not all of it. And I know I've lost files. And I mean, at this point, some of those files I probably wouldn't even care about. I think every now and then, though, I'm like, oh, I wonder where I put that one thing, and I'm looking everywhere. I'm like, yeah, clearly I lost that somewhere along the way. But it's been a long time now, so I feel like I've got everything I actually really, really want. And I learned my lesson and have always had Time Machine active. I don't do anything without that shit. One thing I need to do, though, now switching over to the PC, is I need to figure out a good setup for streaming traditional. On the Mac, it was so easy because I could literally plug my phone in, and I have the iPhone. What do I have? The 11 Pro Max. So the camera is really good on that thing, and it was great for streaming traditional art. But now I'm on the PC and I can't do that. And it is not easy to figure out a solution.
Like I have a couple of webcams, but I mean they don't capture it the same way. And the color is all messed up no matter how much I kind of tweak the settings and stuff. So it's like, I don't know what I'll do. We'll see. And I'm trying not to just like drop the money on another camera, like an actual camera. Like, too much money going out right now. Well, so I'm using the my Fujifilm X Pro 2, which is what you're seeing me on right now. And actually, I don't even need a capture card for that. And I tried it with a capture card, and it's actually not compatible with the Elgato game capture, which I have. The Fuji is not compatible with it, but Fuji had released a webcam utility for their cameras, so I'm able to literally just plug it into the computer and use it. The only thing is, then when you're shooting traditional art, then it's like I gotta get out the fucking tripod and the boom arm and put on that, and it's a big pain in the ass, and it's just so bulky, and I don't like having this big thing right there. But I don't know. I might still do that. But I'd have to see if the HDMI cable I have is actually long enough to pull that off. Yeah, I've seen some people doing some good things with GoPros. With streaming. Right? Who's the sculptor? CNOT or something that basically uses like one of those harmonica holders and has a GoPro like mounted on that. So he's sitting there sculpting, and you're basically getting like his POV as he's sculpting, which is pretty cool. I dig it. Yeah, I thought it was a pretty clever solution. Because otherwise, sculpting would be tricky, right? Especially if you've got it on a Lazy Susan or whatever, and you're spinning the maquette around, like I don't know. I thought it was pretty rad. Alright, now we're gonna try... I had mentioned earlier
mentioned that I wasn't sure if I wanted to approach this like a camera would see it and make it more cinematic in that sense, or if I want to do it more like how our eye would see it, right? So that interior, with the intensity of the light and stuff, with a camera, it would probably be a bit blown out. And out of sheer morbid curiosity, I'm just, I don't know if screen is really the right one for this. Whoa, crazy. Don't think screen is gonna give me the effect that I want. I feel like I'm gonna have to do a color dodge. And for color dodge, for whatever reason, and I couldn't tell you why, the best way to do color dodge, get yourself a color dodge layer, fill it with black, link a layer to it, and then paint on that. Don't ask me why it works, but for whatever reason, that gives the best results. I ain't gonna argue. I'm just gonna paint. Now this might not go light enough, and this is just gonna be a quick and dirty kind of test to see if that's the way that I want to go. And I'll have to play with it. Obviously, I don't want it to look like just some kind of inferno, right? It's the only downside with color dodge is it can look that way. But it's just to give me some kind of idea of what it might. And I feel like it'll just look like daylight. And it ruins the vignette quality. Although I don't hate that. That's not terrible. You know, I don't mind it getting a little blown out, a little washed out, because again, with that like super warm, it was looking a little furnace-y, like they're in front of a blast furnace or something. Whoop. By the way, anyone who doesn't know, on these different layer modes, when you get off of normal, yeah, so Blind Coyote, you said it exactly. For anyone that doesn't know, with these adjustment layers or layer modes, fill will adjust the effect of the layer, right? So in this case, so rather than just adjusting the opacity, which you can see the difference. Like this just makes it more or less opaque, where the fill actually adjusts the effect of the layers. So it's a useful little bit there. So I do like it kind of getting washed out, because that gives it a little less of a fiery look, but I'm not convinced. I kind of like the darker, more subtle thing. So we might have to kind of run with that, I think. Starts to take it away from feeling like it could be firelight, you know? And we want to make sure it doesn't feel like some crazy incandescent bulbs. um, Man, I still don't really know what I want to do. In this interior. Like, I don't want it to just be flat. I'm really tempted to just put a window, but then it sort of makes it feel like, well, why are they just standing there? Like, this makes it feel more like, okay, there's interior exterior exchange. So, but I feel like I would want to get maybe not that dark. Like hint at some other figures, and I don't know if like maybe they're sitting at an interior bar or something like that. You know, some kind of like I'd flesh out their silhouettes more, but this is just for me to see if it's something I like. You know, maybe some other sailors, humans. And then, you know, we could have hint at some others further back, something like that. And then I'd yeah, oftentimes I think what I've gotten used to doing. Hey, Willie, what's up, man? Welcome. Oftentimes I think I would just end up doing like a HuSat layer over the top, you know, where I would just kick the saturation down. And then I can always just turn it on at any time. But that was always like my thing. I really should have had this on, and I kind of do somewhere back here, but I have since copied and whatever. It should be on a separate layer, because then I'm gonna have to go through and mess with the edges and shit, but whatever. I'm doing well. I cannot complain. Struggled through the tattoos on these two earlier, but you know, we managed. I want this guy to be more like hunched over, like he's had a rough like month at sea, and he just really wants to drown himself in his drink. One of the things I wanted to also do was get maybe, why are are you doing that, Photoshop? Stop. Oh, text messages. What? Blah, blah, blah. Let's do this. Sorry. Turn that volume down a little. I have been on this, but I also like took a slight break from it, and I missed a couple of streams because I ended up having to work. So it ended up, and I've been trying to only work on it on stream, which is why it's not done yet. If I was working on it off stream, I would have finished this thing in like a day and a half or 2 days, I think. So that's okay though. It gives us something to work on, you know? They won't all be this long though. I get impatient sometimes, but this was also part of the exercise for me on this, was to slow down a bit and just take my time and think some shit through. Let's get a little closer on these guys. This guy's got like a skull cap on. I don't actually know when they invented the knitted cap, the sailor's knitted cap. I know it was a long ass time ago, but don't actually know when. This guy's looking over to the side here. Silhouette. I do feel like, so I wanted to get some, you know, candles and shit, maybe something a little closer up. I'm just looking for, so one of the things that Harvey Dunn would say was that once you've established your values and colors, or like, what do you say? Once you've established your key values and colors, then repeat those throughout the painting, right? And it's one of the things that helps to just unify stuff. So that's usually why when I get to a certain point, I start to just color pick from my canvas, and that helps me to keep the palette a bit more unified. So I'd gone to Prague back in 2016, and we went into this medieval tavern, right? Literally a tavern that had been around since the medieval times, and they had the coolest candle that, I don't know how old that thing was, or I swear they would just pack a new candle on like whenever that thing was burning low or something, because it was just like all this wax that was just like nothing but wax drips and all that stuff. And it was so cool. So I tend to reference a bit of that. I feel like it would be catching a bit of the cool light from outside potentially on it. Although realistically, I don't think the moon would actually be hitting. If it's from the like upper right, then it wouldn't actually be hitting this, but it could still be catching a little bit of ambient cool. And that'll help it to not feel totally monochromatic back there. Yeah, there were there were a couple things. One, there was like a day there where my throat was all dry and scratchy, and there was no way I was gonna be talking all night. There were a few times there when just got slammed with work, had a bunch of last minute asks that were a huge pain in the ass. Where I was like getting ready to stream, and then, they're like, shit, hey, the client called, can we get this? They need it first thing tomorrow morning. I'm like, god damn it. Yeah. And then there was the point before that where I was building the new computer and it just wasn't ready to stream. Alright, I want a couple of candles. I want one here as well. But I think this one will be different. Because, that's one of the things. If you go back far enough, then only the wealthy could really afford, a perfect anything, right? So most people would have had these kind of either candles they made themselves or just some pretty quick basic candles. They probably wouldn't have had a bunch of the exact same anything. It would have been a hodgepodge mix of everything, whatever they needed. And so that's where I don't want all the candles to look exactly the same, And this one, I also want to be able to see the holder kind of that it's on, just because I feel like if we can see one of the sort of candle holders, then we don't, we get what's happening in the other one. So, and this one could potentially be catching a bit of moonlight. I don't want to go as light as I am on them, even though if this was a tallow wax candle, it would be pretty light in value, but that's okay. I want them to be the focus out here. So. And then I can get the flames in there, which will be a nice, kind of pinpoint sort of light. And then I'll, it'll give me something to start kind of adjusting some of the values against. I probably should have kept that color dodge layer because it works great for flames. But, we could also just, paint it. I feel like, where's that overlay layer? Not you. Yeah, I feel like the overlay made those rim lights a little intense, I think. So, you gotta be careful with rim lights because you have to pay attention to what's causing the rim light.
right? And if these aren't like incandescent bulbs or LED bulbs or something, then the rim light can't get too hectic. You know, strictly speaking, it can't really get brighter than the light source. So depending on how I want to do that light source, or at least one of the light sources, I imagine there are plenty of other candles out that, you know, back in there. But alright, I just want to make sure that we get this one's like multiple candles. Or this one is just the single. Right, did I do that? Okay. Now with those values to go against, I can kind of get into some more lighting on the candles. And then also maybe a little bit of like trans illumination on the candles. But I'm gonna go pretty easy with that, I think. Don't want to go overboard. Because all depends really on how thin that sort of rim is that the flame is sitting inside, right? As to how much illumination we would actually get. I kind of then want to maybe, no, this would catch a bit of light. Maybe do something like that. I've been like, one of the reasons I've been avoiding getting into this is because I had a feeling it would involve a bit of back and forth. You know, because there's a lot of like push and pull with values that can potentially be happening in here. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to get into it. But you know what? You got to at some point. And again, I don't need to detail the hell out of it. I'm not going to like really detail out these guys, but you know, they should be catching some light and shadow play, you know. I don't need them to be. Actually, I should not do that on this layer. I put the flames on the other layer for a reason. give him a big like stein of ale. And he's just like, yes, I've been waiting for a month. We ran out of ale on the ship. Our second week into the journey. And this is where, you know, we can get like a little bit of light. Maybe not that cool though. Catching on him, on these guys from the candles, you know. A little bit. I don't want to go overboard. For 315. All right. Well, I think I should probably call it because, you know, I should be responsible and get to bed at a decent hour because I do have to work tomorrow. So. I'll definitely have to like go in and adjust, you know, do get some light bleed and stuff happening, but sometimes it's easier to sort of establish some of the details and stuff. Yeah, and then get into the sort of what I would consider atmospheric effects. And I still need to, at some point, get in and kind of detail out some of these stones a little bit. Not so much detail, but they're still feeling a little bit mushy, you know? And we don't want that. Stone, it should feel solid. So I'll have to address that at some point. Alright, so I was putting the harder shadow there because I figure, oh, the wall's there and blah, blah, blah. But if you're not careful, like it's feeling like it's right up against the wall, which would be kind of weird. So I'm gonna need to not do that. So not put essentially what would be like a contact shadow, right? We don't want that. Give us a little bit of air between that candle and the wall, and it'll help kind of push it away just a little bit. Just a little bit. It doesn't need to be like perfect, but anyway. Yeah. What's up, dude? I know, I'm beat. I do need to go to bed. But good to see you here, and thank you. Were you on Mr. Autumn's stream earlier? It's just hard because I'll see things like, oh, hey, I should address that and address that and address that, and then before I know it, it's like another half hour has gone by. And what are you gonna do? Anyway, feel like this is getting us somewhere for tonight, getting us into a good place. Word. All right, my friends. I am going to call it. I should go to bed. Oh, right on. Thank you, Auntie Monica. Thank you for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining. And Vil Farrell, I'm glad you're digging it. Super fun. I think it's almost there. It's getting there. It's really close. I feel like I can finish this up Thursday. I'm pretty sure. I don't think it needs much more. So, until Thursday, my friends, y'all have wonderful evenings or mornings or days, whatever it is where you are. Thank you so much for joining. Always appreciate it. Always great to have nice conversations and to catch up with folks. And we will see you Thursday, 7 p.m. Pacific time. Until then, peace out.